The question must be asked, are some books simply not worth reading? Well, the answer may seem obvious at first. These next few stories will take us down a dark and mysterious path that details some of the world's most cursed books that you should never read. In most cases, novels are designed to bring us knowledge or entertainment, but that isn't always the case. Over the last few thousand years, there have been several books that are believed to be cursed and may even hold the power to kill. From deeply cursed Japanese poems to magical spellbooks with deadly consequences, we'd like to tell you the stories of some of the darkest literature in the world. Let us know, what's the most haunting book you've ever seen or read? What was its story? Share your thoughts in the comments below and make sure to subscribe for more videos. The Cursed Novel. After being lost for more than 400 years, a cursed novel about the Spanish imperial age was first published back in 2018. Titled Historia del Huérfano, better known as The Orphan's Story. The book was likely written between 1608 and 1615 by a Spanish monk known as Martín de León y Cárdenas. The novel first appeared in the wild sometime in 1621 and was published under the pseudonym Andrés de León. However, the book would have been highly criticized at the time, and due to the author having deep religious roots and him being highly concerned about the book's questionable and violent content, it's unlikely the book was ever officially published. The story follows a 14-year-old Spaniard from Granada who sets off in search of America, hoping to find fortune unlike anything he's ever seen before. However, along his journey, he crosses over into the Spanish Empire. While there, he joins in on parties with the highest members of society in Lima, visits the Mephite mines of Potosi, and even witnesses Sir Francis Drake's historical attack on Puerto Rico. All things considered, the plot of this book sounds like it would be incredibly significant to history books around the world. However, the book disappeared for more than 300 years, only being rediscovered sometime in 1965. The book had nearly been published several times, but since most of the publication attempts had failed, rumors had begun to arise that the book may have mystical powers that were preventing it from ever seeing the light of day or making its way onto the shelves of any normal bookstore. Allegedly, everyone who has tried to adapt the book passed away, and some of their deaths were quite mysterious. A woman named Belinda Palacios was warned about the cursed book while she was working on it, but 2 other Spanish scientists had already passed away before they could publish their versions of the orphan story as well. At the moment, it seems like this book's history is far too tragic for further attempts to be made to bring the book to the masses. The Grand Grimoire, Pact with the Devil. A grimoire is known for being a mystical book that is said to hold knowledge of magic or other ethereal powers. These books are often divided up among their creators and are best described as either black magic or white magic, depending on whether the spells hidden within are designed to be used to torment or help the individual in question. The Grand Grimoire is one of the most notorious black magic books to have ever been found, with it dating all the way back to the year 1421. It wouldn't become publicly known until it was discovered underneath the tombstone of a man named Solomon in 1750, being written under the name The Red Dragon or the Gospel of Satan. The book is made up of 2 parts. The first portion provides instructions on how to summon a demon and use the demon to fulfill your most evil desires. The second section is known as the Sanctum Regnum and mostly deals with demons that do not require many of the instructions from the first half of the book. While the book mostly deals with demons and making pacts with the devil, some portions also tell stories and give instructions on how to live a happier life, how to carry out an invisibility spell, and even how to force someone to fall in love with you. Tomino's Hell. Tomino's Hell is a very popular poem that has become somewhat of an urban legend online. If it's read aloud, it's said to conjure evil energy that can lead to terrible things happening in your personal life, with some people even reporting cases of incredibly tragic deaths. The main theme of the poem tells the story of a young boy's damnation. His name was Tomino. Tomino's Hell first popped up around 1919 in a collection of poems written by a Japanese poet and professor, Saijo Yasao. Tomino's story has many twists and turns, but the poem tells of how he would carry out unspeakable acts against his sisters, and some iterations even explain how he took the lives of his parents. In yet another retelling of the story, Tomino is said to have been a metaphorical young man who never truly existed. The boy was eventually sent off to war, where he died a slow and agonizing death, knowing he'd never see his family again. By 1974, film producer Shuji Terayama released a film based on the series, but he died soon after. This led to many rumors that the story was cursed, especially after another student passed away after reading the poem aloud. Conversations with Uriel. A book, simply known as the Book of Soiga, has a very simple message for whoever solves the codes hidden inside. They must die. The book was believed to have been lost until 1994, when it was finally rediscovered. The person who wrote this strange book claims to have had inside knowledge about the will of God, and the book was heavily based on astrology and magic. Two different versions of the book have been found in the British Library and the Bodleian Library, with one of these copies containing magical instructions, as well as codes and letters that the original owner was unable to decipher. The code hidden inside the book contains 36 letter squares, each consisting of 36 rows and 36 columns. This means a total of 46,656 letters could be used. According to legend, anyone who manages to decipher the code will pass away within 2.5 years. The history of the book claims that it was translated by an archangel named Michael, but the history after this is largely unknown. Some even claim that the book was personally given to the first human to have ever lived, Adam. However, these claims have been highly refuted. The Necronomicon by H.P. Lovecraft. H.P. Lovecraft is said to have had a hand in writing one of the most cursed books of all time, known as the Necronomicon. This is a work of fiction that is said to have been written using advanced magical knowledge, and many myths surrounding the book continue to be researched today. Lovecraft wrote an essay about the book and said that its original author, Abdul al-Hazred, translated the book during medieval times. Lovecraft's first mention of the book came in 1922, when he mentioned it by name in his story The Hound. It has been said that this strange book contains information about demons and details advanced knowledge about the so-called Great Ancients who lived many years before humans. The book is said to be more than 1,000 pages and is a compilation of spells, curses, and magic that has been lost to time after being translated into many different languages. Only a few copies are believed to be scattered around the world, but most of these copies have been lost over the years. According to legend, if a person manages to master the art of black magic, he can use the information inside this book to control demons and travel to different dimensions, maybe even learning to raise the dead. Bind Loads of Hell, the Book of ABRAMELIN. The Book of ABRAMELIN, written by Abraham von Worms, consists of 4 volumes and can be dated back as far as 1458. Abraham had a very eventful life and would make journeys from Germany to Egypt and detail his encounters with sorcerers, magicians, and other practitioners of spells and evil. The book tells the story of Abraham, who meets a magician named ABRAMELIN and passes his magic abilities on to him. The book goes into detail about ceremonial magic, both good and bad, with Abraham documenting these magical spells so he could share them with his son. The book supposedly contains details about a ritual that lasted between 6 months and 18 months and allowed the magician to make contact with both angels and demons. It goes on to tell the story of how the 12 kings of hell were once awakened, including Lucifer, Satan, Belial, Leviathan, and others. To make things even more creepy, the book goes as far as suggesting that its reader never attempt any of the spells that are written inside. Over the years, there were stories about a man named Aleister Crowley who began working on the rituals mentioned in the book, but he made a few modifications that changed its outcome. It has been said that Mr. Crowley lost his mind as a result, then eventually lost his life. The Devil's Bible, Codex GIGAS. What does the devil actually look like? The largest book in the world is known as the Codex GIGAS, better known simply as Big Book. It's not only famous for its incredible weight of 75 kilograms, but also because it contains an image of Satan himself. The book is believed to have come from the 13th century and was originally written in Latin somewhere in Bohemia. The Codex GIGAS contains a full copy of the Bible, both the New Testament and the Old Testament, as well as loads of historical and local data, as well as spells and stories of witchcraft. The book is believed to have been written by just one author and is said to contain the only known illustration of the devil himself. In the years since, countless artists have tried their hand at creating their own rendition of the devil, but many people believe that the Codex GIGAS could have been somewhat of an inspired book, and that the illustrations herein are factually accurate. If the modern version of the Holy Bible is to be believed, there's no chance that the Codex GIGAS is truly inspired. However, situations like this do make you wonder if there could be additional writings from the times of the Bible that have yet to be discovered, or at the very least, have yet to be acknowledged by the Church. When looking at the book, it becomes clear that the illustration of the devil is shockingly similar to the illustrations that have spread around in more recent years. While this drawing takes on a more cartoon-oriented approach, the core features of the devil look strikingly similar to what we've seen and heard about for hundreds of years. The drawing depicts the devil as being a wild and rabid-looking creature. He has claws on both his hands and his feet, and almost looks like a form of centaur, though without the horse-like appearance. He has short legs and long arms, and an average-sized torso. His hair is wild, and he has 2 horns jutting out of his head. He also appears to have red bands coming out of his mouth, but it's hard to say whether these illustrations were supposed to represent tusks, fire, or something else entirely. He has 3 fingers and 1 thumb on his hands, and his feet look very similar to this, with 3 smaller toes and 1 large one. He wears a loincloth and has a green face. The book became incredibly popular after the story of its author spread like wildfire. It has been said that a nameless monk was imprisoned after breaking a law. We don't know what law he could have broken, but he pled with his captor to set him free if he offered to write the longest book ever written in just one night. He started writing the book out of sheer desperation, but soon realized that his efforts were hopeless. In a last-ditch effort to secure his freedom, he called upon the devil to help him complete the book by sunrise. The devil agreed. In the end, it's said that the devil himself helped complete the book, and as a thank you, the author included the only known illustration of the devil himself. The man also gave his soul to the devil after he passed away. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like button and ring the notification bell for more videos.